Well, hello and welcome to the show. It has been somewhat of a hiatus from the All Red Everything podcast, but now we're back with a vengeance. Much like my guest today, we were just talking about the wonderful movie that I should introduce him as The Accountant. But James McKenzie, I wouldn't expect him to have a sniper rifle packed away. But look, you just never know. James, thank you very much for making the time in your very busy schedule to sit here and talk smack with me.
That's all good.
So, James, you are certified practicing accountant, or the other one?
I'm a chartered accountant.
You're a chartered accountant.
Lots of tickets, but
I don't even know the difference. All I know is that you know numbers. I don't. And as a small business owner, you have saved my bacon more times than I can count to because I don't really like numbers. And here's the funny thing. I was pondering this on the way down and coming to chat to you. I went, you're very much the same sort of person that I like to talk to, but probably with less cars.
Yeah, right, okay.
The cars has always been a connecting theme, and I'll make you bring your mic a little bit closer to you. That's why it's on the swingy thing, because I can tell you're not quite there. And I can also tell that this is outside of your comfort zone, James.
Definitely, yep.
Because usually when we're in this room, you command this space. Because usually I come in here going, oh, God, what have I done now? Because I can't, count. And you're here going, no, it's all right, we got this.
Yep.
But today you have clammed all the way up. I'm going to have to...
We're in tables have turned.
We're going to have to ease it back out of you, whereas here I'm like, you're in my world now, buddy.
Exactly.
I might have to teach you some accountant things. Anyway, James, I'm fascinated to talk with you because in terms of people that I've met over the years that have done numbers, they don't tend to be like you. And it was interesting. As I was setting up and talking smack with you and trying to let you know that this isn't as scary as it seems to be, because I could feel the nervous energy in the room. And I said to you, well, you do numbers. And you said, no, I don't. I do people.
Yeah, correct. 100%.
And that to me is actually the reason that I'm here. And again, the reason that I entrust you, with my own books of my companies and why I've sent so many people your way, because I tend to work with and am myself just a traumatized creative artist. That's what I am.
Well, that's true for all people.
At my core.
All people are good at their own skills.
Absolutely.
Yep. So be it a trade, be it another profession, be it creative, everyone's good at what they do.
And only that.
100%.
And that's the problem when you go and do business, because you're like, right, I really like the thing. I'd like to do the thing my way. All I really want to do is the thing. Oh, crap, I've got to do all this other shit.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And that is where we all tend to fall over.
There's lots of lessons everyone learns.
Mate.
Yes, lots of lessons to be had. Yep.
Oh, and all of those lessons are brutal and expensive.
Yep.
In my learnings. And oddly, most of the people that I know and become friends with and learn along the way, they tend to learn the same lessons in the same way that a 3-year-old runs, looks behind them, and then face plants.
Yeah.
It's pretty much identical to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's common. That's most people in business. Most people trip or fall or even completely fail the first time, 100%. So, you have to do the person, not the numbers, because the person's ultimately the one learning the lessons. Whether it's this business that ultimately ends up being their final destination or not, everyone has to learn every day. You get better every day, right? So being understanding of people that they can't know everything, having some compassion for that, and the fact that I don't know how to do this sort of podcast thing, that doesn't mean that I can't be good at it. It just means that it's not something I've experienced or something I've developed, right? That's the same with anyone who goes into business, right? And in reality, most people learn their skills, ultimately want to go into business because they want to commercialise their value. Unfortunately, when you do your trade or you do your training or whatever else you're doing, you're actually learning how to do that thing. You're not learning how to do the business side. Even if your business is actually as a salesperson, selling something is very different from actually executing a business.
wildly different.
100%.
And these are the things that I find that not only do you not bother learning because you don't really think it's going to work, I think is part of it. You're like, oh, it'd be cool if it did. Like, you know, totally want a Bentley. And again, my dream was a 2004 Bentley and it's now 2024 and I still haven't got it. And it's now old and shit, but still actually kind of awesome. But that's how long ago, you know, my dream started. And, oh God, no, it's 2025. It's even worse. And that's the thing, is that's so far out of reach. And even worse is I remember the lovely advice that you gave to me is that you'll reach a point where you can finally do that sort of thing, but you won't do it because it's such a bad use of money.
Correct.
And I remember actually ringing you and going, oh, I could do that, but I actually don't want to because it's such a bad use of money. I'd rather buy a $2,000 Falcon.
Correct, that's right.
I was actually really irritated at you because I'm like, fuck, I could buy the cool thing, but I don't want the cool thing because it's such a dumb way to spend.
Yeah, and because you work so hard to get to the position that you then go, I didn't work this hard to do something dumb with the outcome. And
that was the problem, was I'm totally in a position to buy that piece of shit 348 Ferrari that was, I think it was 120 grand or something. And I'm like, I actually don't want it because that is the dumbest, even though it's totally awesome and I still probably would want one. It's such a poor use of money at this point in your journey where, like, I would notice that. Like, that's not an insignificant purchase for me.
Correct, yeah.
And that's the problem, is you sort of go, fuck. I must be maturing or something.
You're maturing and you work so hard to get to that position.
You bleed for it.
That you know, and it's not just I worked hard in the sense of time or hours or even invested money. It is the stress, it's the sleepless nights, it's the white knuckling, what if this doesn't work? Which until you've been a business owner, you just simply don't understand that exists. And that exists for years, every year, pretty much every day. And you can be doing the thing you're good at in business. This is the thing that people who aren't in business don't understand. You know, I came back from the coast yesterday after a 5-hour appointment to deal with a locksmith who'd come in to change locks and gave one key to a building that has 150 staff in it. And you're like, good on you, genius. Now what happens? It's $50 a key. And you're sitting in a car park trying to explain to someone that is insufficient resources for the building. And he's like, cool. Anyway, I got to go. So that's the sort of thing business owners deal with all the time. It's this, if you could just run on the path that you're good at, then this would be great. And so having this compassion towards my clients, business owners in general, it's going, yeah, sometimes you're dealing with stuff that's just way outside your scope, way outside your training, and that you don't even understand how you got to this problem, but now you're the mug who's got to deal with it. So in my world, people come to me with problems that they don't fundamentally understand, at least on some level, and usually are quite stressed. Usually there's some emotions involved. So the key is staying calm for me and letting them be heard, letting them in their own words explain where their emotions are and where they see the problem. And then from there we can go, okay, well, let's repaint this picture to what objectively the situation is, and then let's resolve that on a step-by-step plan. So people can walk out of any situation with a plan in their hand, because ultimately that empowers them to run their business better, or at least in an informed manner. And that's really what I'm here for. I'm here to help them work out where the next steps are. Not necessarily how to do what they do, but how to, you know, best move themselves and their family and their ideas forward. The worst thing you can do as an accountant is be Mr. Debit and Credit. For every debit, there's a credit. It's not that complicated. You learn it in bookkeeping grade 9. It's helping those who don't understand debits and credits get what it means. So, and it can be more complicated than that. You know, yesterday's appointment, there was a big, probably an hour discussion about US tariffs and how that's impacting a supplier in the US who, yes, makes things in the US, but with Chinese componentry. And what the knock-on effect is, how they're managing margins, reminding them what margins are, then calculating the margins for them so they had a point to they had a reference point. They understood the concept, but they just didn't know how to do that, right? So they understood it was going to hurt them, but they weren't sure how it was going to hurt them, and they're trying to work out, is this a good thing or a bad thing? So it's more about taking some of that information and helping them look at their own situation, hopefully before there's a problem. That's really what an accountant is for. An accountant should be people call me about a lot of things. Unfortunately, I usually find out about divorces before the spouse does, because people are trying to get ahead of the game, for example, awkward conversations. But that's the reality of it. Unfortunately, we're one of the first people to find out that someone's died or about to die, because we've become that person that's contacted regardless of the situation, whether there's numbers involved or not. So,
and it's funny, I remember people saying to me when I was in my 20s, you're going to need a good accountant and a good lawyer. And I'm like, well, I don't have any clients and I'm not making any money, so why would I have an accountant and a lawyer? And it's only 20-odd years later that I fully appreciate what all that means. And I think that that's also one of the other significant issues is, the classic Dunning-Kruger of, how hard can it be? It can't be hard. Yeah. Because if you didn't have that, you wouldn't do any of this. Like if you actually knew what it took, you'd never start, is my, ongoing
100%.
comment. There's no fucking way in the world. If I knew what I had to go through to get even just to here, I'd take my dad's advice, who, he worked for himself, and he's like, Scott, just get a job with the government. He's like, mate, 9-day fortnights, 20% super. Like, just do that.
Yep.
Seriously, just do that. And I'm like, fuck no, I'm going to do my thing. You did your thing. I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah. There's also, to be fair, there are people who simply can't do those public service jobs. So my brother worked in a public service department job for a while, and he just said, don't ever do this. This is not for you. And for him, it's not for him. You have to have a certain mentality, and business owners simply don't fit. And you either are a business owner who's simply working for someone, or you're an employee. All right, so there's a mentality shift in the two relationships. So it's a complicated thing if you're a business owner or entrepreneurial in any sort of way, not in a cliched, I'm an entrepreneur, look at me, more of a, I like doing things my way, and I can see myself having an advantage of doing it a certain way. Sometimes there's that process of assessing, is my way actually going to be better or commercial? People sometimes skip that. They always assume their idea is better. But yeah, you need to have that little bit of drive there. You got to have that little bit of self-belief, at least at the beginning before you found out how hard it is. And you got to want it. That's what I say to people who are going to start. So, okay, this is going to be really hard. Are you excited? And they say, yeah, I'm really excited to do this. I go, fantastic, do it. And they go, okay, what if oh yeah, that's possible. But are you excited today? And they go, yeah, I am. Okay, try to remember today. Because there are going to be plenty of days where you go, why am I doing this? So try to keep that passion, that excitement for what you want to do and how you want to go about it. Because it's very easy to get excited in doing some logos and colours for your business and high-fiving each other and saying, this is going to be awesome. And then you got to get down to the graft of, how do we actually make this work? How do we keep the boat floating? And that's a challenge. And that's where your accountant and your lawyer comes into things, where they go, okay, you've done good. Now, you won't be able to keep doing the same trick forever. You're going to have to diversify this business and all those type of strategic decisions. And that's where your accountant should come into it. That's just how it should operate.
And again, it's only with the passing of time. And I really find that very frustrating. And I find it interesting as I now have clients who are younger than me, by a good margin. They don't get my jokes when I say the vibe. They don't understand what I'm talking about. And I make references to the Matrix and they don't know what I'm talking about. One of my favourite references is where Neo is learning his martial arts and you get a bit of, he's starting to believe. That, because that's the moment that I'm often looking for as I help develop an individual, where they stop cognitively thinking about the thing, they let go, they immerse themselves in the work and they do the thing. And that reference has always been helpful up until like recent years, where they're like, oh, I've never seen The Matrix. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, how fucking old am I?
And then they tell you that they're born 2 years after The Matrix.
Oh, mate, they were born when I graduated school, and I'm like, oh, I'm not that old, am I? And I'm like, oh, God, no, I'm 50. And in 5 years, I'm like, oh, God.
That's the challenge of references, isn't it? But that journey can also be with staff, where they'll start off very nervous and no confidence, and you can just bring them through. And that's the exact same process as helping business owners develop their business and take confidence that those feet really are under the table and they really can do it. Staff are the same sort of thing. And most businesses have that in common. You know what I mean? I saw a bunch of my clients last Friday, and every single one, if I could just get one good staff member, business would be so much better. Not a staff member, a good staff member who can then invest in the same vision that they have for the business and what they want to achieve. It's the great challenge for all businesses. And again, people wouldn't, the atypical accountant concept would be, why would I talk to the accountant about staff? Well, staff basically relate back to, it's always cliched, but it's your largest asset of your business. So you need to invest in it, you need to train it, you need to believe in it. I think it's a Richard Branson quote, make them good enough to leave and give them every reason to stay. It's a hard thing to do, but it's the truth, and you just got to back them in. But that's then what makes a business great, ultimately, is their staff. Because you've got to have systems that everyone can follow, and then it can grow into what you actually, that excited day one, that's how that gets achieved, is by sort of backing your people and backing your vision on how you're going to get there. So, and accountant's pretty important on that. Even like yesterday's meeting where I was going, you actually really do. I know it's been 50 years now in the business, but you still need to go get those employment contracts done. And no, it's 38 hours is a normal week, not 42. Because people just have got patterns of behaviour they do, and business owners need to protect themselves. Often the accountant is the person who points those holes out and goes,
Okay, mate, you should probably look at this.
That's not looking good. That's outside my scope, but heads up, you're going to get shot.
Yeah,
looking over that paragraph. That's and that's the reality of business. And
that would be your joy as well, because you'd see across, because I reflect on this often, that because I work across so many verticals, you sort of, that thing where they go, what employment area do you work in? You click the drop down. Mm-hmm. I don't have a drop down in that menu that I haven't worked in quite deeply. And I assume you'd be somewhat the same.
They always have a professional bucket that you can sort of click. But in industry knowledge wise, you'd say.
In terms of industry knowledge and experience.
Pretty much all of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so you've seen deeply into many facets.
Yeah, and because I don't just do business services and biz advice, I'm also a company auditor. So company auditors have a very different hat they wear on understanding businesses.
And explain like I'm five, because I don't understand anything that you do. So as a company auditor, what does a company auditor do?
So a registered company auditor, in the most simplistic form, signs off that financial statements are true and fair. To do that, they need to collect sufficient and appropriate evidence that supports all of the financial statements. So in other words, these people really do own all this stuff. They do owe all this money, and they really did make this much money within the definitions of the accounting and auditing standards. On a more complicated level, they have to assess in a business all the risks that they have within that business, and then assess whether the business is actually putting controls in place to protect the business themselves, the shareholders, the stakeholders, and then basically, is the business being well run by the directors? So the directors run a business, shareholders own a business. In small business, they're usually the same people. In bigger companies, they're not the same people. So that's where you get the old C-suite. Your C-suite's basically your management. Then you have directors above them. And all of those people ultimately work for the shareholders. The auditor works for the shareholders to reassure them that all the blokes that they're paying a lot of money to are actually doing, something. They really do have this stuff, and they did make this much money. That's pretty much the auditor's job. It can be more complicated than that. They can be called in to do special investigations, but ultimately you're giving people some comfort that these businesses are worth pretty much the balance sheets are effectively correct, which is very different to the share price. So your company auditor basically needs to be able to assess in a business how it operates, why it operates, what risks it faces. So that's very different skill set to, say, a biz advisory work, which is where I sit down with predominantly small business or medium enterprises. So turnover is up to 100 million, and work through more of their strategic plan. You help with more of the directors through identifying their future plans, strategic needs. On your micro businesses, you're doing, do you have enough cash? You got tax bills coming up. You got to pay super. Superannuation is like explaining some of the more educational side of things. And then that ties into a different qualification I have as well, which is Chartered Company Secretary, which is usually the person who sits inside large companies who sort of does what the auditor does, but on the other side of the fence. So internally assesses risk matrices of the business, how they operate, why they operate, what government regulations they have, what internal regulations they have, what employment law applies. But then also within the risk, the business risk matrix of things like reputational risk, confidentiality risk, IP risk, and how those things are mitigated and how that interlinks with both financial reporting and legals.
So basically, you're grossly overqualified for the shit I come in and ask you about.
I'm probably overqualified for most appointments I'm in. So
that's what I'm hearing here. Is I'm like, because I always I knew you were pretty good at stuff, just by the way you answered questions and solved problems that I bring to you. But as I listened to that, I'm like, because when what was that? Did you say small businesses up to 100 million?
Yeah, small to medium enterprise up to
small to medium enterprise. See, I thought I was a small business, but turns out I'm like a training wheel on a.
Well, the tax office says a small business is anyone under 50 million.
Right, that's a pretty broad stretch.
It makes it just makes their job easier if they just lump everyone into that bucket.
Doesn't help the people that are down the arse end of it, but sure.
Well, it probably gives you some context in why they have the policies they sometimes have.
Yeah, right.
Because to them, everyone has a CFO.
Because, well, of course, it's not just me, some fucking idiot that doesn't know what he's doing.
From their side of things, if the tax office has a very unenviable job.
It's a terrible job,
right? So they have upped it to 50 million, more or less, because that just gives them a clear bucket that they can go, well, that equals 95% of businesses in Australia. Therefore, internally, they can allocate that much sort of resource into that space. Okay.
And it makes it sensible. Like from just an organisational point of view, it makes
100%.
It perfectly. Why would you create more? Like that's actually what we asked for, isn't
well,
it?
There's technically three thresholds of small business, but broadly speaking, let's say 50 million.
Yeah, okay.
But that's why they do it. They do it to simplify their world. But yeah, up to 100 million. We'd probably say is a medium size in revenue per annum. Yeah.
100 million's medium.
Up to medium, yeah.
Up to medium. Jeez, I've got a long way to go to up to medium.
Yeah. And a lot of people do. And there are a lot of brilliant businesses out there that would be under that threshold, right? But then again, there are going to be businesses out there that turn over $500 million a year and people go, wow. And you're like, yeah, but they make 0.5% margin. Yeah. Right? No one really cares what your top number is. Your top number is of no importance. It's the bottom number that's pretty important. You want that to be in the black, and it doesn't really matter what the top number is.
No, but it sounds cool.
And so this goes back to
the uneducated.
When you're really excited, you want to go into business first time, you're like, I want to turn over $500 million a year. You're like, yeah, cool, but how much money are you going to make at that? Oh, none. You're like, oh, well, why bother doing it? Why take $500 million worth of risk to make zero?
For fun?
If your term deposit rate's 5%, why take all that risk on that return?
Well, because I don't understand anything that you said.
Yeah.
And I go, well, YOLO, as the kids would say 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago, exactly. It's the thresholds are sort of there just for people to understand, as guides. If your turnover's over 50 million, you pretty much need a company auditor to go through your figures, even if it's a mum and dad company. So, it can be mum and dad own the company, but it turns over 50 million. Because generally speaking, they also have more than 100 staff at that point. So you've got to have 100 staff and more than 50 million. Because in reality, the reason you need the auditor is there's 100 mortgages out there that rely on that company surviving.
And that's the worst part. I couldn't actually imagine anything worse than trying to manage 100 staff. That's like my worst nightmare.
Yeah. If you own that business, you're probably not managing those people anymore, right? You should have management and with that in place.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Nobody would want to work for me.
It's
a pain in the ass.
Well, it has its pros and cons, but it's but that's when your company audit comes in. People go, well, why would if the mum and dad company need an audit? Yeah. Well, there's 100 staff who rely on this place to survive. it's not actually just mum and dad's business.
No.
It has a bigger footprint than that, and that's why those regulations exist.
Yes, it's a big machine because otherwise stuff would just be collapsing left, right, and centre. Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the uninformed, the people get left holding the bag.
Yes.
They're the ones who miss out on their staff entitlements, their annual leave, long service leave, and probably their super. And that's why businesses that size do have company auditors.
Absolutely. And you see that all the time. And these are all such common stories of stuff getting done wrong. and whether it was...
But non-compliant businesses will always
or-
be... Non-compliant businesses will always be non-compliant.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of the... where government brings in more red tape, all it's doing is making compliant businesses more complying and non-compliant businesses measured as more non-compliant.
Absolutely. The sort of person that doesn't pay their bills or their super or they're never going to pay anything.
100%.
So
Yeah, they're either unaware of their obligation and then they make good, or
they're just uninterested.
they're uninterested. Yeah,
And that sort of phoenixing type.
yeah, and that's where, like, for me, as obviously as an owner of a practice, we just stay away from that. We just don't need that hassle in our life. People who want to play in that space, we're like, yeah, we're good. Plenty of other Johnny startups out there who'll, go slashing through the weeds with you, but
Absolutely.
we're good.
Whereas I want to be talking to you when I'm like working on commercialising horrid up scooters in my retirement home and putting wheelie bars on them so that I can do burnouts but not flip over the back.
Yeah.
I would like to still be talking to you as I'm figuring out those things because
Roll cage in your scooter.
fucking hey, because like when I fucking corner too hard and you're like, whoa, save my hip. That's the relationship that I want. And that's because I was even I can't even remember what year I would have come to you. It would have been 15, 16,
Probably.
17, somewhere around there. I can't even remember. But like long time. And when I came to see you, like my business was in disarray in terms of the way that it had been set up and the way that it ran and, the accountant that had taken me on my initial journey because I was like, you do the thing, give me a bill, whatever. You take care of it, I'll go and do my stuff. And because I didn't understand and I just trusted that they were doing the right thing, I got messed up pretty bad because I didn't understand and I didn't think I needed to know because I thought I could outsource it. I thought I could just pay someone, make the problems go away and just, whatever they tell me to do, I do that. I jump through hoops. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you take care of that. But when we actually sat down and went through it and you're like, it's not great. And when you say it's not great, you're actually politely saying, you idiots. But then what you did was you educated us. You took us on a journey where you went, look, it's not great. Few problems, might have to sort some of those. Some of this isn't great either. But what we can do is here's a way forward, which is what you said earlier, was people come into you and quite often not at the best point in their commercial lives. Like when you're coming to seek help, pain is generally what causes people to change and it has to be enough pain. And then when it gets to a point where it's like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore, it's a fucking blowtorch, then they come and see you and you're like, should have come and seen me 2 years ago. All right, how do we start?
Yeah. Exactly. Well, unfortunately, that's not untrue. That does happen. We not in all cases, but, yes, that does happen. There's a line in there where you said I've sort of delegated this or I outsourced it. So a very basic principle to remember came through when I did my company secretary course is you can delegate any function, but you can never delegate responsibility. So as a business owner, you need to always be checking back to the person you've delegated to and have very clear expectations on what's deliverable and not deliverable. And when things have to be done, ultimately, if you're responsible, you need to put it in your diary and find out, was it done? And that can be, even if you've outsourced it to your accountant to do your BAS or your tax return or whatever, you need to be touching base and not waiting on them because, unfortunately, ultimately, it sticks with you. So, I hear that, I can outsource this problem. You're like, no, you're outsourcing the function of it. Someone's doing it. That doesn't mean they're responsible for it. You're still holding the can. It's just someone else is shoveling. So always something to watch as business owners, because business owners are time poor, right? I can attest to that fact. But every fortnight we pay staff, every alternate fortnight we pay creditors, and 2 directors here go through the whole function to make sure that it's done correct. And why? Because we're on the hook. It's our responsibility to get it done. And business owners don't sometimes like hearing that. They want to hear, "Oh, solve my problem." And you're like, no, yes, solve problem, but also your problem. It's your problem. You need to make sure
no, it's you. It's numbers. I don't want to know about that garbage.
100%. And it's not just creative people. Have you met a doctor?
Oh,
they save lives.
Yeah,
and they are of no interest to tax. But the tax office is very interested in them.
Yeah,
same with solicitors. It's not just a certain type of person. It goes across all occupations. But ultimately the responsibility still falls down to the business owner.
Yeah, which is fucked. Because the problem is you go, I don't know. It's like it just doesn't. And I've discovered, decades later, it's dyscalculia. Like I can't tell the time. Like I literally just potato. I can do numbers, but I didn't even know. Like I couldn't read a P&L until
most people can't.
2019.
Yeah.
I forced myself to learn, and like we had a guy coming and spending time with us every month as well, who like helped me to, because I realised that like I couldn't. Again, I'm a very slow learner on shit I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But since forcing myself to learn, and you go, oh, okay, now I get this, and a chart of accounts set up properly at the start is really important, because like the in matches the out, and then the report means a thing, and then you can look at the thing, and then you can plan the thing. But in my mind, a lot of the time, I'm still just a bloke starting, and like it's still, because every day for me still feels like it's my first day. And you said earlier that, are you excited? And the funny thing is the answer most days, these days, is fuck yeah. Like I get out of bed and I go outside and I'm like, oh shit yeah, I got doing a thing with James today. That's fucking awesome. Like yesterday I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing stuff with Carly. Like it's fucking awesome. And tomorrow I got something fucking awesome. Like broadly speaking, I am super excited about most days.
Yep, correct.
But as I said to you, I come and see you once a month to make sure, financially my life is in order. And I still have like panic attacks driving down here because of like over a decade ago, when I didn't know what I was doing, I'd outsourced the responsibility, and that ultimately went badly. And I didn't know what was going on. I knew it was a mess and we had to fix it. And like I would just always feel sick, and like just that pit of your stomach terror.
Yeah, it's the unknown.
I can't describe it any better than that. Like I'd have full-blown panic attacks in the morning at like what was I doing? And we're not even talking biggies. As I said, I'm not even a micro business. I'm a training wheel bolt on a micro business. But that was like the level of intensity of like, oh fuck, I've got to. But it was just so far beyond any of my comprehension.
Correct.
But you made it safe. And you made me not feel fucking stupid, which was actually one of the larger issues I've had with a lot of places, where I walk in and they just make me feel fucking stupid. And that's the lack of just understanding the human and the personal element. And that is something that I can never thank you enough for. And I guess the way that I thank you is I send so many people to you. Like I recommend you to anyone, as long as they're not a fuckwit. I'll never send you a fuckwit. But if they're a wonderful human being and they need help, I send them to you.
Yeah, which I really appreciate. It's, many years ago, one of the courses I had to do, we had to read a book called The Trusted Advisor, which I don't know if it's still in print, but it's a very good book. And I think it's something that's brushed over by a lot of professionals, not just accountants, solicitors as well, because they're the bastion of their own. That's their area of expertise. And they don't want to explain it, but this is a concept of black magic. And accountants can be really guilty of black magic, where they're like, I have fixed all. Go forth. And you're like, what did you fix and how did you fix it? And you're like, you don't need to know this. Come back next year, which I don't subscribe to. So it's because as a trusted advisor, you should be able to come and ask me any question. And then we should never see each other again and that advice still stand. So because that's what the whole point is of it being a trusted person and a trusted advisor. There are plenty of professionals out there who will work in black magic, who will just not tell you all the information because from their commercial perspective, they want you to come back, right? It's dumb, but that's what they do, right? And the question's got to be always, sometimes you hear about financial planners. The joke is, whose financial plan is this? The financial planner's plan or your financial plan? Is this strategy going to be of particular value to you or not? Many fantastic financial planners out there, plenty not. Same with accountants, same with lawyers, same with doctors, right? So, but being that trusted person is about being able to give the right transparent information to the person so to trust all competent adults are capable of making their own decisions given the facts. That's for example, I'm a tax agent. Under agency principle, I work on behalf of the person. It's my job to give them all the information so they can make an informed decision on how they want to operate. It's not my job to pass judgment or tell you what the answers are. It's my job to make you aware of what the rules are, and then you make your decisions on how you want to conduct your business or yourself, okay? And that's forgotten by a lot of people, unfortunately, and that's just what happens. You can't judge other professionals when they don't do that. But it's a very important thing to keep in mind whenever a matter comes up is, well, hang on, what is my obligation here? How am I conducting myself? And how is this in the best interest of the person who's engaged me or the professional who's engaged me?
So the trusted advisor, I'm going to have to look that one up because because again, you say these things and I'm reflecting on my own journey where there was a point in time in my younger years where I thought that, I had to keep all the stuff in here and I had to be the conduit. Everything had to come through me. If it went to somebody else, I'll lose the business or whatever.
Sure. Yep. And
I realised that I made myself the blockage for growth. But I only got to that point through extreme pain. And then I realised that actually I can just relinquish all control, let people be good, and actually that lift them up and let them be good. And that same, if they leave, then so be it, doesn't matter. But again, from that black mindset or whatever they call it, that place where I thought I just had to protect it and keep it all in. But I didn't know any better. Whereas I introduced somebody the other day and I actually remember I was sitting in one or two seats up from here and the words I said to them were, if I was trying to stitch you up, I wouldn't have you here. But I want your business to be set up the right way from the word go. So even if something goes horribly wrong and you never want to talk to me again, you will be okay. You and your family are on the right path.
Correct.
Because our relationship doesn't have to be forever, but I want what I do with you, and how you engage me in the work that I conduct with you. I take great pride in that, in being that honest, transparent, and making sure that your journey, whatever that journey will be, is the right one. And I guess I hadn't realised until that moment that that's actually a strategy, that's a thing. And you've just literally twigged that in my mind. This is what I love about these conversations, is you actually teach me. I'm here to interview you, but this is very selfish. I just love learning shit. So, why not come and get people and scoop the brain out?
Yeah, sure.
It's amazing. Because I didn't even know. And that's because I've quizzed you on this.
Yeah.
On why you are like this. And I guess this is what I wanted to sort of unpack with you today, is that trusted advisor, because the way that you approach business, accounting, as I said, you're grossly overqualified for, numbnuts like me. But you are so kind and thoughtful and compassionate that, I've been in here, fucking in tears, mate, where I've had something go wrong and I'm just like, what the fuck do I do now? And you're like, no, it's all right. Like, we'll be okay.
That is extremely common to have people in here crying.
Oh, mate.
So it's not just you.
You made me feel better as well when you said that to me at the time. That's my other favourite thing. You've always got a great story about somebody who's fucked up way harder. And then I'm like, this is baby's first fuck up.
Yeah.
But to me, it's the biggest thing because I haven't done the thing before.
Generally speaking, business owners, particularly small business owners, have no one they can actually talk to.
No.
And, they don't want to burden their spouse or they feel they've spoken to their spouse about the problems already too much. So often people just boil over. They sit down with us and it's a trusted, safe space.
It's a safe space, mate.
No, it doesn't leave the room.
No.
And they can have all their frustrations and everything. They can let it all out. And that's what I said at the beginning is then we go, okay, well, they're all really valid feelings. Let's go through where that's coming from and then let's work out what steps can happen, what can make this process better. And that's, it happens a lot. I think I've mentioned to you, I do some client appointments in the car park because the clients have that anxiety that they can't get out the car, right? I've got clients who are illiterate, who literally can't read what I'm giving them, which is, so I have to verbalise everything that's written for them. But having some compassion and empathy for people is, you either have it or you don't, I suppose.
Correct.
Right? It's very hard to train that. When you get an adult in,
it's impossible.
It's very hard to train that.
Yes.
It just is what it is.
Correct.
So that's, I think, just part of my wiring, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But it's also realising that when you go to the doctor, we can all relate to this. We all go to the doctors and they've got test results and you're sitting there and you're bricking it out in the waiting room. Well, that's the same feeling people have in my reception, right? Because they don't know what the result is yet and they're bricking it, right?
But odds are you're going into the doctor and you're like, I'm going to fucking die.
Right. Well, there's two people that, who's the most trusted people in most people's lives? Their doctor and their accountant. Because the doctor protects the thing you value the most, which is your health. Well, and for some people, the accountant protects the thing they value the most, but it's usually one and two, is their health and then their wealth. A lot of the skills are transferent between doctors and accountants in relation to the interpersonal relationships with people. Obviously, no correlation between our actual technical skill sets. But being able to relate complicated things to people who don't really have a whole lot of knowledge on the topic and who are in an emotional state or heightened state.
And to make them feel okay. And that's it. It's that heightened state.
And heard.
And heard is the other one.
And heard. And not give false hope. Not, doctors never trade in false hope.
No, just give it to me straight.
Yeah, it's, Doc, tell me where I'm at. And he's like,
am I fucked? And they're like, mate, you are fucked.
Yeah, it's going to take more than a salad and a jog.
You're like, God damn it.
but doctors, all medical, not just doctors, but all medicals don't trade in false hope. So then they'll never tell you something's going to be okay if they don't know. They go, we don't know. They'll tell you straight to your face. Where accountants, unfortunately, as a profession, we like helping everyone. So it's the old, I should be right, we'll sort it out, right? So you got to kind of be a little bit careful you don't go down that path and go, well, this isn't going to be great. Let's be honest. We're going to have to do some steps here before we can assess that. So taking that step back and using some of that, like myself and a couple of directors here, we've done quite a bit of mental health training, first aid mental health training, because we deal with so much small business mental health problems.
Which, again, is one of the things that I was shocked by. Because, I've said to you on more than one occasion, like the ATO have been single-handedly responsible for my personal mental health decline because they have a system that just I have found is very inflexible. But you have been able to advocate on my behalf over the years and go, yes, this is a complex situation, but I can talk to them and we can figure it out and we can find a path forward. Because that's the thing, and I'll tell anyone, like I've made so many fucking mistakes. That's why when I help people, I try to go, don't do this.
Yeah, and to the tax office's credit, and they deserve credit on this, if you ring them and tell them, look, we've got a mental health situation here, you need to call off the hounds, to their credit, they are relatively good at that. They very rarely will they go, look, we don't, like they will never say they don't care, but sometimes they still stick to the guns. But I'd say 95% of the time they're brilliant at that.
Yeah.
But their process, they have to design a system that follows a certain pattern. But it's...
But if you're the boy that cries wolf, if you're always like, oh no, the dog ate my homework.
100%. They, at event, the time comes where they're like, we don't care. Like, and I had one of those phone calls on last Friday where they're like, this guy has to lodge this. I'm like, yep. They're like, he has to lodge it. I'm like, guys, I don't have any information. He's been told, you've told him, I've told him, everyone. And they go, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. Escalate. It's going to escalate because they're not dealing. So
because they're not facing the problem. And that tends to be the issue, is you go, just I'll ignore that one, that'll go away. And it doesn't go away, but you don't have someone to turn to. And that's the issue, is you put yourself into a place, and I've found this again, and you would see the same thing, where a small business owner just goes, don't know what to do, focus on doing the job, deal with that later, and then later catches up to now. And then it becomes a far bigger problem.
100%.
Because we're so grossly unprepared. Because you can start a business, like, you don't need, same way you don't need a bloody, no responsibility around having a child, but there's a fair bit that goes into that. No different to starting a business. Like, you can just fucking start one. And you're grossly unprepared, much like the parenting experience. You think you're going to do it. But
all good intentions.
My child's only going to eat organic thing, something. And then, like, what do you want? Nuggets? Yep, nuggets. No worries.
Here's your iPad.
Nuggets, iPad, here you go. Oh, mate, it's all gone, whatever it takes.
And every parent can relate.
Every parent.
Yeah, 100%. So it's never as simple. None of these situations are, unfortunately. But, as accountants, our job is really to advocate for the client, but it's also to give them all the facts and the information. So you go down this path, they're going to kick snot out of you.
Absolutely.
And they go, well, I'll take them on. You go, you don't understand.
No.
You are going to lose.
Yes.
They're going to kick snot out of you.
Yeah.
You need to stop, drop and roll. They are
the kings of fuck around and find out. If you want to find out, do not fuck around with them. They'll fucking end you.
Correct. They will. But they give you plenty of rope.
Yes.
But then ultimately it's used to hang you.
Well, it's that responsibility. There is still, you have signed up for this. We didn't tell you to start a business. We didn't tell you to start doing this. You chose. Here's the framework you have to operate in. Whether or not you're aware of it, not our concern. It's actually your job to learn.
Ignorance is no defence. Correct.
And I hate it when you tell me that. I'm like, ignorance is bliss, my friend. Bliss.
Until you are
Until
informed.
it's not. And then you're like, it's so awkward.
Yeah, correct. But that's a big part of what we do is trying to inform.
Yeah, and the mental health stuff as well, because you've gone down that path. Because again, I know that you've spoken to me, and as a man who is a long way down that path himself, I listen to many of the things that you say, and again, I hear it. I hear it in the language that you utilise. What was it that inspired you to take that on as well? Was it because you've sort of seen too many situations and you thought that was an important thing to add, or is that a compliance? Or
it's definitely not compliance. It's not required by anyone for us to do it. I had a situation. So there was an roofing insulation scheme run by the federal government, and the rug got pulled on that overnight.
I remember.
So I got a phone call from a federal politician saying, I've got a bloke's come in, he's got a fight on his hands at the tax office. Can you meet with him, have a chat to him? I'm like, yeah, sure. Send him down, I'll have a chat to him and see where he's at. Anyway, a guy came in, and the short story was he was screwed, right? He was stuck with a whole lot of insulation stock. Everyone now had insulation in their roofs, so he had no one to sell insulation to. He owed the tax office a boatload of money, and he had no cash. So anyway, we went through the situation. I said, okay, yep, you know, there's going to be a process here. You know, he's probably going to be looking at bankruptcy. And he said, oh no, I don't think it'll be a problem. And I went, that's really odd. So I'm pretty good at numbers and situational awareness. Like, this is pretty much stuffed. Like, you know, you're talking a pretty big hole. And he's gone, no, it's all good. I've got a plan. I know what I'm doing, and that won't be a problem. I just want to know about these other risks. And I'm like, those other risks aren't a problem because when you're in liquidation, they're going to be absolved. And I don't know, I just got a feeling, I'm like, I said the wrong thing, actually. I said to him, are you thinking of doing something silly? Which, upon training, I got taught you should actually say, are you planning on committing suicide? And he looked at me and said, no. And I just got a feeling like, no, you're going to top yourself. And I just lied and said, do you know if you top yourself, your life insurance doesn't pay out? And he just broke down into tears and just went, yes, it does. I go, no, it doesn't. That's not actually true. It depends on the policy, but I basically called a bluff. And he admitted he was going to drive off the Logan River Bridge on the way home. So
literally going to leave here?
He was going to leave here and drive off the bridge. So
fuck.
So I'm like, don't leave the room with this guy, flagging down reception.
Yeah.
Girl came in, I'm like, call Lifeline.
Yeah, help.
They called Lifeline. Lifeline said, wrong number, 000. So they're like, not a problem. Ambulance turned up. And so I just kept him talking about his kids.
Yeah.
Until the ambulance got there.
Yeah.
And then that was on a Friday. That was on a Tuesday, sorry. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Monday afternoon, I should say. On the Tuesday, we buried our business partner who had died the week before. So on Wednesday, his wife turned up and gave us flowers and said, thank you. You've saved our lives, saved his life and whatever. So at that point, I thought, okay, we probably need to be better aware of handling that situation and probably not let our clients get to that point, because I know who this person's accountant was. They're good accountants, very good accountants actually. And they had done nothing wrong. They were just unaware of his mental state at the time. So off that, we did some training. Obviously, we were dealing with grief in the office here anyway, so we had a counsellor coming in dealing with our staff probably once a month for 3-4 months, because unfortunately we had a partner get motor neuron disease and die in a 6-month period. So we had a psychologist coming in, so we sort of did some ad hoc, what should we be doing, what shouldn't we be doing, what should we be saying, not saying. And then off that, we did some follow-up training, and then the Institute Chartered Accountants actually ran a mental health first aid course, which I did. So, and then it's just from there, it's just professional readings and staying on top of different strategies and things to look out for in small business. And but that's really what the trigger event was in that. We've had clients attempt life because they're receiving ATO mail or phone calls from the tax office where they've been told not to call, which solved the tax debt because we could go back and say, you've breached your own instructions, wipe the debt, which they did. Luckily, the person didn't pass away. But we've been dealing with this stuff for a long time, even long before we had mental health awareness and all that sort of stuff. The practice has been going for over 50 years. And sadly, these problems have been there the whole time. They're just better discussed and there's better strategies. But you've got to be aware. Ultimately, you're dealing with people. You're dealing with clients of people, staff of people. So you can't ignore that. It's, just because the condition is invisible doesn't mean that it's not there, right? So mental health is ultimately something you have to take seriously. And just like you take your blood pressure and you go for a jog and you eat a salad, well, having the right strategies for business owners around their mental health is important.
And I think that that's one of the things that has really set you apart. And I guess, in terms of the way that, I refer to you and speak about you and, appreciate you, is that because of your kindness, empathy, compassion, you're wiring naturally. And then you've also gone, oh shit, this is actually very real. It's not just the numbers, it really is about the person. And because of that, you've made that, your own philosophy. But I think that that's what makes you very special as an individual, but also very special as a professional, is that I haven't witnessed or encountered someone who operates like yourself, who operates at such a high level, but with such kindness, such empathy and such compassion. And that was very much why I wanted you to come on my show, was I love talking to people who I find extraordinary. And the way that you have conducted yourself over, a decade with me, my clients, people I've referred to you, like that's not an accident. 10 years of just superb and always there for us. And I've sent people to you that have had considerable complexity. Same thing. I've said, where I've said to them, I'm like, "You all right, mate?" And they're like, "Actually, no, I'm fucked." And that mental health severity for business owners it's something else. Because you don't talk about it, and you got to, it's great, everything's great. That first day where you're designing the logos and buying the Bentley, and there was that big, almost the last 10 years where entrepreneurship became cool and everyone was like a fucking entrepreneur. And, now that we're in, the seventh fucking crisis collapse globally in the last 15 years, they've all gone away. I've noticed that there's not a lot of entrepreneurs out there now. We're not putting that in our bio anymore. No. They all shut the fuck up and went and got a job. But for those of us who are dumb enough to keep going, and this is something that I truly credit you towards, is that I put myself in a position in the things that I go out to achieve that are far beyond my capacity, and I try to do them at extremely high levels. Like I try to be, top 1% of whatever I do globally. I try to be the fucking best. And I routinely get the shit beaten out of me, and I'm like just fucking on the floor, fetal position, bleeding out. But no matter how bad it gets, because of the conditioning with you, the things that I've been through, I can always just dust it off and go, no, it'll be right. And I can handle a level of stress where I watch people around me collapsing, and I'm like, mate, this is baby's first crisis. Like, you have no fucking idea. This is so, like...
That's the value of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have been instrumental in building my commercial resilience, and you have enabled me to, again, fight at levels that I never thought I'd be capable of, and to do it with ease.
But you're always capable of it. You just needed to have the confidence to take that step. So, that's the thing, and that's how a lot of business owners are. They are more than capable of doing it. What they just need is a bit of a plan. They just need to identify what the critical issue is or the critical problem, making sure they've crossed that off, and then backing themselves. Ultimately, entrepreneurship is kind of it's a naff word, but you got to back yourself. You've got something you like, and you got a bit of moxie, and you're gonna go after it. That's all it is. You just have to, really what you've learned is to have a commercial viability to the idea before you jump. Going, yeah, okay, this is cool. Let's do some quick numbers. Well, it's gonna be pretty pricey. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this stick. I might pass on this one. But I think you hand credit to others where you've done hard work, and you've you've had confidence in yourself, and you've executed. And that's true for a lot of business owners. You just sometimes need someone to go, no, you're doing good.
Fucking oath you do.
Because you just don't get that as a business owner.
You never do.
No.
Nobody says you're doing good. No. And that, I actually find that in most of my clients that I work with is actually just telling them. And I actually shared it with one this morning. It's a quote that my therapist uses with me all the time when I sit there telling myself I'm a big piece of steaming garbage. Oh. And it's that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond words. Oh. And that is always the thing that I come back to and that I shared with somebody this morning. Oh. And they weren't familiar with that one. And sharing your gifts with the world, that's routinely the thing that I say to people who do have, they've got the empathy, they've got the kindness, but then they also take on all the harsh, and they build a very strong inner critic. Yeah. Because I recognise that in people, and I watch how you help to support the good and educate where you just need the little lift.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're just informing, often you're informing people what they already know, which is kind of what you're saying, is that they kind of know the answer. They suspect the answer, maybe. And you're just giving them the confidence. No, that is the answer. That's the right answer. You're good.
Yeah, you got it. And from someone like smart that you respect. And
at least educated.
Least educated. Well, I use these things as interchangeable. I go smart. But that's because, for a man that works in language, quite often my words are not great.
Right.
And I laugh at that all the time. I can be very eloquent, and then I'm like, potato.
Nothing wrong with being a potato. Just be the best potato.
Mate, fucking sensational potato. But, James, I guess the thing that I also wanted to do was you don't wake up with this gift of experience.
No.
This is where I push the rewind button and make the noise and go... Where were you born?
Just Martyr at South Brisbane.
Brisbane boy.
Yep.
And mum and dad. What did mum and dad do?
Teachers.
Both teachers.
Both teachers. Mum's a high school teacher. Dad's a primary school teacher. And then Dad used to, every second year in the Christmas holidays, he'd build a house.
Every second year?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
78, 80, 82, 84. He was a farmer. So he'd put the foundations down in September and then have a steel frame delivered week before school ended, and then would build a whole house, and then first week of term one, the tenant would move in. So that's what they did.
Bloody hell.
So, yeah. So then when
he was a farmer with a plan. He didn't want to do farming forever.
Well, he watched a builder build his house in 74 or something. He went, you're pretty ordinary at this, I can do that. And went from there. So Mum went back to school when, I don't know, I was in early primary school, grade 2, something like that. And Dad stopped teaching at that point and just ran the properties.
Yeah, right.
So that's what he did. He was a stay-at-home dad and ran all the properties.
And just did that.
So that's what we did on the holidays. We put up fences and retaining walls and repainted rentals and evicted tenants or clean up after tenants after they'd left. And
decimated it.
Yeah, so pretty good with plastering.
Handy skill.
So yeah, that's what I did, and I grew up at Daisy Hill, and
So mum and dad lived at Daisy Hill.
Still do.
Still do. Same place?
Same place, yeah.
The family home?
Yep, still there.
That generation.
Yep.
They're magnificent, aren't they?
Yep.
Double brick?
No? That was his first house he built. Yes, I know.
What's the forever home? What's the construction on that one?
Steel frame house.
Steel frame house.
Yeah, everything's steel frame.
Loves that steel frame.
Particularly those days, it was like steel.
Yeah, right.
You need a hammer drill to get through that stuff. Yeah,
Ooh, good steel.
Good steel. Yeah.
Not like Russian steel or...
Not like the cheap, thin stuff these days.
No, okay, the good steel. All
Yeah.
right, I understand. So born at the Martyr, and you are brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I've got a younger brother and younger sister.
Younger brother and younger sister. So you are the eldest of three.
Eldest of three, yep.
And born what year?
I'm 83.
83.
And my brother's 85, sister's 88.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
There you go. So I'm even an old man in this room. Fuck.
Just.
Shoes.
Just.
3 years, you're a fucking whippersnapper. As a young bloke, you said obviously you're painting and doing all those sorts of things, painting houses and plastering and fencing. When did you start jumping in the family business stuff? How old were you? Was that just mum and dad are doing this, so you sitting here in nappies doing?
Yeah, no, don't joke. When Dad built one, we were 5, I think.
Yeah,
and, yeah, we were just we'll just hover around the construction site. But yeah,
that's early memories.
Early memories. Me and Rob locked in what was the study. Though I actually ended up owning that house at one point, which was my study years later. But yeah, that was the crash.
That was the
because
crash.
there's no door handle, but the door locked. So Dad went, "Yep, you're safe, right?
Yeah, that'll do. There you go, mate.
I'm going up the roof. Here's a block, couple of hammers."
How good was the 80s?
Yeah, it was good. So, yes, that's what we did. And yeah, pretty much. So I just chipped along and went to St. Matt's down at Canubia for primary school.
So what is it? St.
Matthews.
St. Matthews.
Yeah.
So I don't know the local slang. I'm not a Daisy Hill boy.
So it's just down here at Canubia. My kids have all gone through there too. And I did a year at Chisholm in grade 8, and then I went to Villanova from grade 9 through to year 12.
And do you know, have you spoken to your parents? Why'd they choose Villa?
Mum actually started teaching at Chisholm at the same time, so we're a little bit on each other's patch. So we decided, we might separate the fights here, maybe not have mum and the 3 kids there.
Makes sense.
So we did interview. I'd already originally been on Terrace's list.
Yeah, right.
And then someone on staff there, their son went to Villa, and it was that simple. They said, give that one a go, it's quite good. Did the interview at Terrace and Villa came back first. So it was about as complicated as it was.
So it wasn't, orchestrated as such. It was more of a
opportunistic,
necessary, and convenient.
Convenient. There's a bus that went from the Hyperdome and winner chicken dinner.
Isn't that funny? So it wasn't a master plan. It was just that'll do.
That works.
Solve the problems.
That solves the problem. Yep, good school. Yeah, mum and dad teachers, so they asked
Yeah.
around and they went, it all checks out.
Tick the box.
So,
And mate, in those sort of early years, what were the things that you were excited about? Were you a sport kid? Were you a chess kid? Were you a... What were the things?
I played cricket, played rugby league for a couple, They were sort of the two main sports I did. Play with my brother and sister a lot of outdoor time. Bit of tennis, swimming.
Mountain biking? Mate, Daisy.
No, back then there was no mountain bike track. It was just a forest.
There were?
Yeah.
You just had to know.
So, no, not really. But no, more that sort of sport sort of stuff. I was sick when I was 11. And then, so that sort of kept me out of the sun for a couple of years. And then,
And because that one's fairly considerable in your journey. So what happened there?
I had bad acne from about the age of 10. Put me on a drug called Roaccutane, which is still going these days, and they rebadged it. It was a lot of bad press. Basically, they gave me too much of it. I overdosed on it. And so I got a rare form of acne called acne fulminans, which kills you. So
not just your confidence, not just, with the ladies. It actually
shots. It basically kills off all the red blood cells.
Fuck yeah, hell, I've never even heard of that one.
So my whole back was just one big, not to be too graphic,
open
pustule.
Oh, ouch.
So it basically ate my skin down to the bone.
Oh,
and then had that on my neck and my chest as well.
Oh.
So once I eventually sorted out how to fix that, I was in the Royal Brisbane for about 4 weeks.
Shit. And you were 11?
11, yeah. So put me in the adult hospital, but this was the only ones that could handle it. Oh. So it was great, but they used to give him $5 every meal. I'd eat my hospital meal and they said, here's $5, walk to the canteen and buy more food. Because I'd lost 30 kilos, so I was down to like 25 kilos or something. I was a big kid at 11. And so I was on Chico rolls and spring rolls and just eat whatever you can to get some weight back on you.
Well, that's a good time.
So that was a happy memory.
Yeah.
And then I came out and they put me, so I had burn scarring basically on my back and my neck and everything. That's what it looked like. But it's not actually burn scarring, it's a different type of skin. So I had to wear burn suits for a couple of years.
So like teenage years, so like 12, 13.
12, 13, 14. I stopped wearing it. I stopped wearing the mask when I went to Villa. I decided to give up on that one and just wore the suit.
So explain the mask. What was that you had?
Mask is the wrong word. So it's basically like a protection that went under my neck, but they had to put a strap like over my head to keep them.
Oh, fuck's sake. But like this is in the mid-90s. Like the world
so 95, 96.
The world wasn't as kind and considerate in the mid-90s.
I was a pretty big lad.
Were you? So did that help?
I was this size when I was 11.
Okay, that helps.
I was the biggest guy on the playground.
All right, so you didn't cop too much grief.
When I was in primary school, the young kids, like the grade oneers, would be like, "What happened to you?" And I'd just do the old, "Don't play with matches, kids."
Yeah,
like it's serious. And they'd all go, "Oh my god!" And they go home and
they go, "This pyro, like, oh my god,
lit himself on fire."
Yeah, wow, that's a good story.
Yeah, and they wouldn't ask again. Their mum and dads would all go, "Don't bring that up again.
Don't talk to that kid."
Yeah, and the year at Chisholm, like again, same thing. The wonderful thing about St Matthews and Chisholm is that they make wonderful people. They're really nice people, very compassionate, very understanding people. So they're really good schools in that sense that the people that come out of there are lovely.
See, I just remember Lord of the Flies, like, fucking hell, very different.
Got to Villa, and by then the suits was probably losing their effectiveness a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Particularly around the neck one, it just sort of flattened out. They'd done a bunch of injections and stuff that had helped. So I gave up on it and just wore the other one as an undershirt. So no one really noticed.
No, it wasn't as bad.
And, by then I was bulked up. I was doing a lot of weights and stuff. So no one was really crossing me still.
Didn't matter.
It didn't really matter. So, and again, honestly, no one really.
Really?
No, everyone just went, okay.
See, that's the thing. You are the fucking accountant. You're like, righto, dickheads. Like, oh, wow. And again, I meet this mild-mannered guy. I didn't, this is actually very interesting.
So that's what happened with that. So,
And did you find that affected those sort of teenage years greatly, or that was just how it was and just didn't?
That doesn't bother me. Nothing bothers me like that. I was just like, oh, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chico roll.
It's just like, yeah, okay. I've never had that sort of. A lot of people do, but it just doesn't.
No, it didn't.
Just doesn't register for me.
That's impressive.
So
very different teenage experience to many of the people I've spoken with who, worry about peers and impression management and all sorts of things.
no, never really been a huge concern. I am who I am, and take it or leave it.
That's very unusual, though. That's very, very mature in your thinking. Have you ever noticed that? Like, did you notice that
I've always been a little
people
bit.
that you hung out with, and you went a few decades ahead of my peers here with this, death of ego or whatever it is that you've found?
No, I don't know. Just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just a blessing, I suppose. I've never
Because
really.
is that similar in your parents or your siblings? Or is it a similar trait?
Yeah, relatively similar.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe not quite as. I'm probably the most relaxed about it, but yeah, generally speaking, yeah.
Fantastic. Mate, I just got fucking anxiety. That was the one I got. And I'm like,
No.
thanks.
The big thing I had with the skin was they wouldn't let me play rugby league in grade 7, so I worried my skin would tear. And I told them it'd be fine. They're like, no, really, we're not doing that. So grade 8, I got into the under 15 or under 16 rugby team at school. So I was pretty happy with that. And then I went to Villa, and obviously there's rugby everywhere. But yeah, I was more just don't let me hold me back. I did a lot of swimming and stuff. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What position did you play on the field?
back then, I played prop, and then I played number 8 and prop, and depended on the team. So
That's fucking unit.
so just
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. And then I got a job from grade 10, so I sort of gave up on all the sport then and started working.
And see, here's the question: is the job in year 10? What job was that? Like,
And mate, it was at Bilo, which is like Coles.
I remember Bilo.
Yeah, yep.
Oh.
Started as just a mop boy, and then ended up in groceries, just packing shelves and doing displays and
Doing the Bilo things.
yeah, it's fun, mate.
They don't exist anymore, do they?
That's Coles. It was Coles then.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was all owned by Coles Myer,
Oh,
so
gotcha.
it was just
Just a different
badge. They had a Coles and a Bilo at hype it on. It was like literally 2 Coles at the same shopping centre.
right.
Yeah.
And you dropped the sport because of
Yeah, I just wanted a job because those days there's no Sunday trading, right? Yeah. So freedom when you live 20 minutes from the school is have a car. So as soon as you can get a job, you get a job. So then you can save up, get a car, get a license, all that sort of stuff.
It makes perfect sense. Very important question. What did you select as first car?
Mate, you'll love this.
I will.
I had a Nissan Skyline.
Yes.
I had the 1984 hatchback sedan.
Oof. I do love this. Please tell me you've still got it in a garage somewhere.
No, I don't. I bought it off
Sad.
my second cousin, I think it was. She was flying out to the UK. And
Probably worth $100,000 now. Was it a turbo one?
No. You're thinking a couple of years later.
Am
So
I?
this was more.
I'm not thinking GDR. No, I'm thinking the boxy one. The family.
Yeah,
the
family
one.
car. Yeah.
They're still worth $1 squillion.
Oh yeah, straight 6 on it. Thing went like the clappers.
Yeah,
yeah. It was,
Oh, I know exactly. There's a Japanese GT version of that specific car
Yeah, right.
that I've got the model of it at home.
no. Yeah.
Oh, I do love that.
Yeah.
See, how do I not know this? I've known you for a decade. Didn't know that you had the sickest first car.
Yep. So it went very well. Yep. Had that for I can't remember until I got my degree. So probably 2002, something like that. Yeah.
Were you a sensible boy or were you a little bit Dom Toretto?
Nah, it's pretty sensible. Because I needed the car. Like,
Yeah.
guys can be drongos with their car when, who cares? I'll walk to the bus and I'll be there. But when you're 25 minutes from everyone, you kind of need the car. You know, it's fun, but it's,
Sensible.
yeah.
Oh, that is magnificent. See, it's the unexpected delight. With your schooling, was that something that, did you finish good grades, all those sorts of things? I have to assume you're a reasonable student.
Oh, I was reasonable. I was okay. I got an OP5, which was okay.
It's pretty good.
I was, I did all right. I liked school. I liked going to school. I liked the social side. I liked the academics. I was pretty happy with school in general. But yeah, no, I did solid. I was never like the top of the class. Certainly friends with a few of the guys who were at the top of the class, but I was never in that league.
See, I thought you might be right at the pointy end. I'm a little bit surprised that you, because again, in a private school, AP5, you're doctor, lawyer, failure. So, 5's a bit soft. I actually thought you'd be
tough
closer
comp
to the
that
top.
year. Tough comp.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, a lot of my mates went through and had a few of them on 1s and 2s and that sort of stuff. Yeah, but you need like an OP12 to get into accounting.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's
Shit, I almost could have got in. I was only 3 points behind that.
yeah. So it's because it's goes on. It's popular. OP used to, they don't have any more, but it's basically a popularity contest, right? So it's not so much how smart you need to be, or medicine obviously, but it has a different assessment anyway. It's desire, how many people want to do the subject, right? A business degree in finance, accounting, and economics was a 12. So
Plenty of room.
I got in.
Was there a desire for accounting? Like, what made you choose that? Or did you choose something else first?
No, I signed up to the same degree, but I actually signed up to do economics.
Right.
So I really enjoyed economics at high school.
So what's the difference explain like I'm 5.
Well, economics is the science of business.
Right.
Supply and demand. If I put this tax up, what effect does it have on the economy? If I lower this tax, what effect would it have? Are we going to increase inflation? How would it affect CPI?
Gotcha.
How does a tariff, for example, in America to China affect Australia? That sort of stuff. That's economics, right? So it's the science of how to moving these levers affect everyone, right?
What are the unintended consequences?
Well, what are the consequences? It's presumptuous to assume that they're unintended. Gotcha. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Gotcha.
It's where accounting is much more, and economics tends to be projective. So it tends to be, if we do this in the future, X will happen.
Yeah.
Accounting tends to be retrospective, is these following things have occurred.
Correct.
And this is how we're going to measure.
Okay.
Here's our accounting standards, and this is how these type of transactions would be measured. So.
And why did you not pursue the
Because
economics?
I sucked at the maths.
Oh,
I couldn't. Yeah,
really?
the algebra for the economics was a bridge too far. I was like, nah, I do not want to keep doing this.
See, that also surprises me.
Never great at algebra. Good at a 2 decimal place, adding, taking away, and percentage. Can do that till the cows come home. But start throwing in some algebra and curves and, supply and demand and elasticity and all that sort of stuff. Less great. I can pass it all, but I do not want to do this the rest of my life.
Yeah, this fucking sucks.
This is a really hard slog.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to keep slogging for like the rest of my life. When I'd effectively done so it's the exact same subjects for accounting and economics the first year. And I was getting like 6s and 7s for the accounting, and I was getting 4s for the economics. And you're like, the pragmatic James went, don't be stupid. Get on the horse that you're good at.
Absolutely. And go, look, you like this one, and ideologically you can still enjoy it.
And I got in the other thing was I got the job section out of it. There used to be things called newspapers. And you used to get them and get the job section. And every job said you needed to be a CA or CPA. So I looked that up, and it turned out you had to be an accountant to get one of those. And I went, so, you know what, it seems like a lot of jobs in this. It turns out I'm not bad at this.
You go, what a pleasant overlap.
The whole point of this exercise is get a better paying job than Bilo.
Yes.
So, I thought, well, why not? So I switched to accounting, which didn't actually involve any switching. I just simply started choosing subjects for accounting
do that.
And then, so there's no actual even change of paperwork. I just simply did different subjects. And that was it. And then at the same time I made that decision, my dad was a client here at Dickinson's. He reached out to Mark and said, give him a job, see if he likes it. So Mark went, all right. Met me and went, yeah, you seem smart. You'll do. And I started here 2 days a week, basically doing admin for the first 6 months, opening ATO mail and photocopying it and writing letters to people saying, here's your mail, and all that sort of just.
And it was better than Bilo.
It wasn't as good as money, but it was definitely a pay cut. But
you could see the trajectory.
I needed to be here to appreciate whether I'd like this job.
Yeah, correct. And you didn't hate it, obviously.
No, it was fine. That's it. I wouldn't have wanted to do admin forever. No. But you had to look down the path. You had to look at, like, say, Mark, who's now my business partner, and other people at the time who were qualified accountants, and looking at what they're doing and sort of just listening, what are they doing? Does this sound interesting? Oh, yeah, that sounds fun. Okay, I could do this. I like helping people. I'm a bit of a people pleaser, but I really like helping people. So I'm like, he seems to be helping people. That seems good. I could probably do that. He has a nice car, so he's obviously not struggling. And, yeah, okay. Oh, this is good. And that was as complicated as the decision process was. Yeah.
See, no wonder we get along. We're both simple men. The lack of desire for algebra, the skyline, I'm seeing overlaps here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I just always find it really fascinating as to how and why people make decisions, take the path. And obviously, Mark, it's really funny. I've actually never met him. I've been coming here for so long. And I've heard many stories, but I've actually never met the bloke.
Yeah.
Because, again, I come here to see you. But he was obviously somewhat influential in your journey.
He certainly gave me an opportunity, gave me a job. I actually worked under a different chartered accountant when I started, a guy called Russell Porter, and he was very good. Worked with him for 2 years, basically. And then Russell left, took on a job, took another job on where we were helping out someone who had a big complicated tax audit. They ended up going to the High Court. So he ended up resigning to go permanently work for these people to help them out. And I sort of just stepped in under Russie. So Mark and I I've never been truly under his wing. I've always sort of run parallel to Mark. But yeah, there was certainly a period of time when you'd say he was a mentor figure.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And that's it, just in the experience of somebody to, and probably even better that you're working in parallel and not directly.
We don't always work well together.
Yeah.
We both like leading the dance. And
that is tough, particularly if you're in the subordinate position. That can be the young bull and the old bull.
Yeah, 100%. And that's happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay because I'm usually right.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
No, you have to be respectful. Both parties have to be respectful. That's
Correct.
the key. And to Mark, he's extremely fair. So he's very good at going, okay, well, he goes, I'm in the big chair, so I'm right. You've got to convince me that I'm wrong. And that's a great skill because when you're 20, I was extremely young when I became chartered. Very, very young. I actually double counted. My last subject at university was my first subject of my next degree of my CA program because I backed myself that I could pass a postgraduate course while I was still an undergraduate. Because I called the institute out on a technicality that I could count both. So I ended up becoming chartered at 21 or something, which is pretty young.
What's the standard age? I have
24, 25.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that's significant.
I was young, yeah. I was young when I got admitted.
Like 4 years.
Three
or 4 years.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years, yeah. Yeah, I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, Mark supported me in that. He was like, 100%.
Let it rip.
Let it rip, don't fail. It's not easy. And I went, yeah, right.
Yeah, whatever, mate.
Yeah, whatever. How hard can it be? You did it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's going, yeah, that's true. But he backed me to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And said, yeah, go do it. And in that sense, he's been wonderful. And then, I go on and do more audit work. He's like, great. Well, you get more audit work, do it. I don't care. As long as you're productive,
Yeah, do the thing.
You can dance whatever dance you want. I'm not going to, as opposed to some places will be like, you are going to do company tax returns that will turn over between $5 million and $15 million. And you're just going to do that all year.
And that's all you'll ever do.
You're not doing accounts. You're not talking about, you are just doing this. You are a widget. This is your cog. Don't dream bigger than that. Do that. So I had fantastic. That's the reason I stayed, to be frank, at Dickenson. I could do whatever I wanted. You want to do FBT, do FBT. You want to do audits on companies, do audits on companies. You want to do super funds, do super funds. And I like the diversity.
And they allowed and enabled and supported.
100%.
Whereas you go to a big...
You're doing tax returns between $5 million and $15 million for a company.
And having some awareness of systems, I've also seen some of their systems. It's very much to make you the cog and make sure you know 100%. That you're the cog.
Yep.
And without the machine, you are not a cog. And I'm there 100%. Going, yikes. I mean, I totally get why they do that, but it, again, suits different types of people.
Yeah, correct. So like big four firms in Brisbane right now, there'd be maybe one registered company auditor in the whole firm. And they are auditing big listed companies because that guy controls the power. It's his signature. You all need him. You can't shove him at you know what I mean? Mark agreed to become... Mark signed me off as a registered company auditor when I was 25. Yeah,
right. Which, again, I assume is a bit early, a bit soon in the general...
About 20 years. Yeah.
That's pretty early.
Yeah, because it's not so much because people young can't be registered company auditors. It's just because the way a lot of the guys who work in that sector don't qualify people and don't enable people to move.
It's the gatekeeping.
It's gatekeeping, 100%.
Yeah.
Why would I sign you off to be my competitor?
Yeah. Whereas here
you were going to leave if I do that, right? So often people who get actually that asset qualification actually do it behind their boss's back. They have to do it on hours.
Oh, God.
Where Mark and I both got signed off on what's called competency based. So they basically we're assessed on you actually can do the job, therefore you're through. Where if your boss won't do that, you have to get passed on hours, which is a crazy number of hours.
So once again, they were open to supporting
100%.
not dissimilar to that Branson quote you made earlier.
Yeah.
Make them so good that they can. But
give them every reason to stay. Yeah. So 100%.
So that existed here as a philosophy.
I wouldn't say in a structured sense, but 100%. They back their people. And we always have backed our people.
Yeah.
We always bring people through as university graduates. We hire them then, bring them through. They get the degree. We support them to become chartered. And then we talk to them about what they see their professional life looking like, and what type of services, what type of work do they want to be doing. And then if we can get that work in, any of that work that we have, we give to them, and then we try to help them build a client base.
And then facilitate that.
Yeah.
And again, this is what I said to you, and I've kept saying to you, this is very arse about in a lot of, but see, I don't necessarily understand why, I just know it is. And then I sort of see this and I go, well, how and why and how did it get to this place where it does that? But see, now it's starting to make sense as I start to get the picture through the lens of your experience.
Sure.
And it makes more sense now that, and again, even though it was unstructured, the type of people that they welcomed in
100%
had a little bit of fire, because they realised in a commercial sense that actually if you can get some people like this is actually good for the business as a whole.
Yeah, so Mark likes the old forest and trees. If we have too many big trees, little trees don't grow. So we want to keep growing the forest so the little trees have sunlight to grow into and that they can then become what they want to become, and then they'll collect the whole is the forest, which is the business. And that's really important, So, it's about supporting everyone and where they want to go and how they want to go about it. You know what I mean? Every person will attract their own people. So accountants shouldn't, in our experience, you, for example, you like me. So there's an attraction where we stick, right? And it's the same with, say, Mark. People like Mark, they stick to him. You got Scott and Johanna, and different people like Scott then would like Mark or me, and they stick to Scott. And then that's the same with Johanna. Different people stick with Johanna as opposed to, we don't have anything to fear from each other.
No.
Do you know what I mean? If you're doing a good job and you're building proper relationships with people, then you don't have, there's this whole, going back to the concept of, I want to hold everything, it's all mine. And, the black magic concept that accountants can have. If you're actually looking after people, doing a good job, and taking the time to actually listen to what they are and who they are and what they like to achieve, then you don't need to be so protective in this I own mentality and more enabling others to go, well, you do you and people will like you. Have confidence that people will like you and just do that well and it'll work out. And it does. And this self-belief is what's really important.
And it's interesting that has been fostered, and then that's obviously something that through your journey, I guess you probably do now more as a more structured process, because I guess you've
not hugely structured, but more structured, I suppose, more conscious. Well, I'd say we're more conscious of it as opposed to structured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to build a framework around the vibe. I struggle with that myself as I try to explain to people, because people go, what do you do? And I'm like, well, fuck. That is really hard because it's actually, like the stuff I do is actually, I don't think it's particularly difficult. The magic is extracting it from the person. And I see that strikes me as the same sort of framework where you are looking for the key markers that you see as talent in the individual, where they've got, the drive, the interest, the desire to make something of themselves.
Yep.
Because how many staff do you run here?
26.
26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a few.
Yeah.
It's a few people. Yeah, and some of those have been here for over 30 years.
Wow.
Yep. So the most recent's 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, wow.
Something like that. I had another university student.
Because again, 30 years tenure in the year 2025 is unusual.
Yep. Yeah, so 2 started in 93. So Mark and Sue were in 93. Yep.
Because it is unusual.
Yep.
But it also speaks to the management of an organisation, and you would know that from your time within organisations.
Correct.
That something I say all the time is you can't fix anything from the bottom up. If I'm not working with the top down, I won't work with them because I know I'll be unable to affect change.
Yep.
And here it's got that.
Yeah, people talk about culture. Culture is one of those things that's very hard to fake. It's very hard to make. It's about being open. And, that doesn't mean every day you have to be open to everyone's chats. But you got to be generally open to hearing what people have to say and how they want to operate, which we try to do. If we can facilitate it, then we facilitate it, But then again, you also got to know people who fit and don't fit. It's about personalities and whether people are fitting in that side of stuff and whether they are welcome. And the big thing is making sure that people are welcome, whoever they are, welcome them for what they are. And they attract, if they feel confident, they'll then attract business to the business. Yeah.
Tell me this, so 25 you're signed off as a company auditor. You're obviously a partner in the business these days.
Director and shareholder, yeah.
Sorry, when did that happen? When did that transition?
It's 2015, something like that, 2016.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so...
As an owner, yeah.
Yeah, so somewhere around the time.
We had Rob die in 2014, which put a big handbrake on a lot of that sort of stuff as well. Because that changed, a lot of things happened real quick there, where we all sort of went, let's just let some dust settle, and let's see how things are at. But yeah, so in 2008, I also had emergency surgery, had got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So that sort of happened around then as well.
Talk to me about that, Crohn's disease, so I don't know a great deal about that.
Sure. So it's an inflammation of the digestive system, anywhere between the tip of your tongue and your bum, predominantly in your intestines, but it can be anywhere. Ulcerations is the most common sense. So basically I had, in 2008, about a metre of my gut, small intestine, had to get removed under emergency surgery. So that was pretty ordinary.
Not great.
Not great. So, and then I had a bunch of treatments and things like that over a couple of years. Big flare up in 2013, more medication, whatever, another surgery in 2016, just after my daughter was born. So, and then it's been good since then. So basically I go to the bathroom 12 times a day. That's basically the short story of it, and I really shouldn't eat oily food. Because I've removed that part of my digestive system that absorbs it, so it just washes straight through. So yeah, but so it just makes you very tired because you suffer malabsorption. You go to the bathroom a lot, so you're constantly thirsty. You get muscle cramps because again you're losing a lot of salts. So it's like having gastro every day.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty shitty.
Quite literally. Good joke.
Sorry, I'm crying myself.
For fun,
There is something.
Mark also has Crohn's.
Really?
Yeah, so he had his 8th surgery last year. So,
And it's just an ongoing complexity that has
it never goes away.
Yeah, that has to be dealt with.
100%. Yep. It's just there. Never goes away. Every 4 weeks, go get your shots.
Fuck, every 4 weeks you got to go and get. So what? And again, educate me. I don't know anything about this.
So the medication I'm on is called Stellara. So my Crohn's is at a severity where I'm also on a compassionate release. So the government only pays every second injection. The drug company gives me every other injection free.
And
that's about 10 grand a shot.
Fuck.
So yeah. Yep.
Whoa. What? Fucking hell.
So it's a fair bit of juice. So that knocks you out for about, I always have it on a Friday, Thursday or Friday, so it just wipes me for the weekend. So I used to be on other medications, which were basically chemo, which I had for about 5-6 years. So I've been on this one for about 7 years.
Sorry, I'm just sitting here in absolute shock. Once again, known you for a lot of years, knew that there were some things.
Yeah.
You know, I was aware of the existence.
Well, it helps.
Of
You know, to go back, you want to know a little bit about like where your empathy and compassion comes from.
I sure do.
So a little bit of that's got to come from, I've got an invisible condition, right? So no, I don't struggle with mental health problems, which actually makes me a rarity for people with Crohn's disease.
Really?
It's usually 80 to 90% of people with Crohn's disease suffer from mental health, particularly anxiety, because constantly wanting to know where a bathroom is, right? To be fair, you become very, very good at knowing where bathrooms are.
Bloody bet you do.
You know the inside of designs of shopping centres way better than you should. So, you know, and you just become just a bit more, you know. You can't control everything in life, and you accept that.
Yeah.
So that probably helps a bit.
That'll do it. I've got to tell you, the overlap that I've always found in the kindest people I encounter is that they tend to have had experiences that are not great. And they tend to have, struggled significantly over extended periods of time.
Yeah.
And they have fought their own demons and found a way to accept these things that they carry.
Yeah.
And just...
I don't know about challenge. I just think it's one of those situations where you just have to get up and move forward, right? It's
well, see, that's the thing, is you don't have to. That's the thing, is there's...
I'm eligible for a disability
choice.
Pension, for example.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
But it doesn't really cover life, right? So, and I don't know, what am I going to do? Sit around? I'd prefer, I'm not really helping anyone do anything doing that. So
you'd be bored.
Yeah, pretty much. So, just get on with it. So
I'm still back at... So hang on. So the government helps every second month?
Yeah.
And that's the bonus. Like, that's the good one. You're on the U-Butte by getting 50%.
That's as good as it gets. Every 8 weeks they'll pay. I'm on what's a special. They have to write to the government every 3 months to get permission to keep me on it. And then the drug company gives me every second one free. So when the government gives it to me, I think I pay $40. So it's a standard PBS script.
Wow.
But whatever schedule, whatever, and they send it off to Perth, Tasmania, and someone approves it down there.
So hang on. So you're not personally out of pocket?
No.
60
The PBS pays. No, the PBS pays for it.
Oh, that makes me feel actually significantly better.
Yeah, no. The PBS pays for half. The government pays for half, and the drug company gives me half free. I pay $40 every second injection.
Oh, I was having a fucking aneurysm.
No. God.
Jesus Christ. Because I was like, these are the fucking problems that I get upset about. Because, I hear about and discover and meet people with significant, conditions.
Yep.
And they're like, no, we just struck that off the NDIS. And you're like...
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's not on that list. So no.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, and see, these are the things that actually make me super happy to pay taxes. Would you believe? Like,
it's hard to be upset about the tax bill when it comes. We you're like, I can see a pretty direct return on mine.
Absolutely. And this is actually, I think, one of the most beautiful things about our society is that when we actually do the things and we do them right, it's actually really magical.
Yep.
And don't always get to see that,
No.
And that actually warms my heart.
But yeah, it's a great system.
It's fucking hell.
Yep.
And every month, and that's the thing. So for all these times I've been coming to see you and whining about my problems,
but that's what I'm here to help you.
Yeah,
that's
I know you are.
That's how I help.
Fucking hell. Yeah, it is extraordinary because I knew that there was stuff there, and I guess I was also interested in unpacking with you your own journey because I knew that there was stuff that you dealt with.
Yep. Well, we all deal with.
But I wasn't.
Everyone has something that everyone's.
Well, of course they do, but we're here talking about you.
Yeah. But everyone's got it. You only give and crosses you can bear, right? There's the old saying. So, whenever people say I'm finding it too much, it's important to remember, life never gives you more than you can handle. Mm. It's just finding the strength to stand back up and keep walking. Mm. Because there's always a reason to lie down, right? So, and that's where you got to sort of find that internal space. And a lot of the discussions over with clients is just reminding them that they are capable. Mm. They can stand up and they can do what they need to do.
Because with your own journey, like, were there points in time where it did just feel like too much?
No.
Really? See, I can't relate to that.
Well, when you're 11 and everyone tells you you're going to die, and you think,
oh well,
fuck you, that's not happening.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah, and like I remember going to the hospital and I was upset, and Dad's like, why are you upset? And I said, people die at hospitals. He's like, they can't all die here, otherwise there'd be 1,000 coffins stacked up outside to drop all the bodies in. I went, doctors must get a couple right. I went, yeah, he's got a point. Yeah, you're right, okay. And he goes, do you think you're going to die? I go, no, fuck him. He goes, yeah, what do you know? Doctors are guesses at the best of times. Off you go. So, if you think about it, it's just a matter of don't listen to the naysayers, get on with it. And if you don't back yourself, no one will.
See, that's fascinating insight all by itself.
Mm. So, you're playing a second game. You know what I mean? So just play for keeps.
And I think that's the other thing, is that because you have fought that battle, I assume you find it where you sort of can take on other challenges that, again, people would go fairly complex, and you're like, internally,
no, nothing's actually that complex.
That's what I keep noticing, is nothing's that complex. Like, doesn't matter what it is.
Nothing's actually that complex.
Nothing's that hard.
No. Merchants in complex are people who are trying to confuse the fact. Nothing's actually that complex.
No, because I keep going into industries that I don't know a fucking thing about, and I can figure it out pretty quick, because like all the markers are the same. Like the inputs and outputs, everything's binary, everything's ones and zeros.
Correct, yeah.
And I'm just there going, same shit, different bucket, different gatekeepers, different, but like...
Correct, you just got to learn where motives lie, and then...
broadly the same.
Yeah, that's correct.
Mm. Mm-hmm. But again, these are interesting things to have learned.
Yeah.
And again, at that age, and that, again, being told, so you're 11-year-old boy, and they were like, oh, that's it.
Oh, they're like, oh, no, this will probably kill you, but it's really interesting. Because they're doctors, right? They've got, most specialists have no actual people skills. Your GP has people skills. Your surgeons and your high-level whatever, they're terrible people skills because they're so clever they don't need them, right? And everyone's like, whatever, as long as you're the best, you don't want the brain surgeon with the personality. You want the one who's the best, right? So you put up with all that sort of crappy conduct. But yeah, they're all,
Did they do a research project on you?
100%. Yeah, we had like 50 of them come and look at me in a day, right?
Because they're like, this kid here that's going to die.
Look at this freak. This is amazing.
Look how fucked he is.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So there's a few studies with you as the patient.
100%. Well, the whole, yeah. And then I survived. That made them even more interested. So I just go back every 4 weeks, keep poking him. Let's give you more of the Ractane. How about no? So, yeah.
Whereas potentially it was your mental resilience.
Oh, potentially. Or I had a very good the professor of the top man at the time, Dr. Ivan Robinson, kind of solved the problem the way I'd solve an accounting problem. Yeah, and he was like, oh, yeah, so see all this stuff that stuck to you? That's not good. So we're going to soak you in a bath. We're going to just, whatever loosens up, we're going to just get rid of. And we're just basically going to rub you down in, I don't know what it's called, but it's violet in colour. It's basically like Dettol, but it doesn't sting. It's going to dry it out, kill the infection, then I'm going to soak you. Dry it, give you 6 hours out of the bath, put you back in the bathtub, soak you again, get the gunk off you. So there's not a whole lot of medicine in that. It was just, we're just going to control this and fatten him up.
Yeah.
Like he's losing too much weight, fatten him up. He just needs more energy in the body so he can fight this. And that's why I was there for so long. It took that long to sort of get everything off me. And he's like, right, and then just basically bomb with penicillin to sort of kill off any infection. So it wasn't like a dermatological solution in the sense that it was like, just get it all off him.
Mate, it was the farm dip.
Yeah, it was
like,
basically, but he went back to basic principles, effectively, right? Kept it simple. That's how he solved it. Brilliant doctor. So, but everyone else has, ever since then, sort of been, cream, can we put on, we can laser this, like, go away, enough damage. Leave sleeping dogs.
Don't need any more experiments, thank you.
Yeah, so, but yeah, he went back to simple, basic principles to resolve it. So, probably a lesson in there somewhere too.
I reckon there is a lesson in there too.
But yeah, it's just, keep on keeping on is the key. And he used to just say, just remember, your jobs don't die. Like, understood. Easy. I can do that. So, that's it. It's not a particularly complicated story in that sense. So, yeah.
It's just an unusual story in that sense. That's the one that I get, is that it's just your path has been one that strikes me as unusually complex, but you're like, just, whatever. Just the
Well, I think everyone has complex stories, really.
Everyone does, mate. That's what makes human beings so incredible.
Yeah.
Like, we are extraordinary in our own little adventures, because the other thing is I've noticed that everyone lives the exact same life. Like, as you go through the different phases, we learn the same things. You look at each decade, very similar markers of decades. Whereas I look at some of those things that again, when my boy's 10, your kid's about the same age, like we're playing fucking Super Mario Brothers. Like, you're not dealing with and going...
Yeah, 100%.
Those sorts of complexities at that specific age.
Yeah. Yeah, but then again, there are plenty who are.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, there are plenty who are. And, in that sense, it's not an isolated story, and really the acne, whilst not much fun, better than cancer, which is what a lot of kids at that age are dealing with who are in hospital.
Absolutely.
So, so could it be worse? It could be a lot worse, right? So you do take your blessings. Everyone has a battle, but you can always find a positive. It's never as bad as it could be. So
that's probably one of my favourite things about you too, is whenever I come in here with a bad story, is how you always have like some catastrophic story of like somebody who's just really messed up, and it all. Yeah, I come back to that because it does. It's that just telling people that it'll be okay.
Well, they're not alone.
They're not alone.
They're not the first person to walk down that path.
No, but it feels like it. And
of course it does.
That's the struggle.
Because it's your first time walking down a path. It doesn't make it the first time someone has walked down the path.
No.
But your first time's still your first time. Right? So, and being reassured that there is a destination, that the path doesn't just go into the abyss. You can't see around the corner, but don't worry, I've been around the corner. It's not as bad as you think.
No, it's all good.
Or, heads up, it is as bad as you think, but you still have to walk the path.
Yeah. And we can soften the blow. We could like put a cushion on that concrete floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Or at least you don't have to be alone.
Yeah.
We can walk together at least, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which, is really important, because there's plenty of plenty of lessons of life we have to all learn as adults. And sometimes it feels very isolated, right? So, I think being kind to each other and just having some empathy and saying, no, I get it. You're bricking it. They go, yeah, I am. Yep, you are. I get that. That's okay. You're allowed to brick it. I'm like, oh, yeah, that feeling, it's like the Simpsons. Homer goes, I don't know what to feel. You're supposed to be sad. Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes people are like, I don't know what I'm supposed to. No, you're on the right. That's the right emotion. Yeah, you are. You're, oh, good. I am right. Yeah, you are right. It's validating what they're feeling, It's very important.
Because a lot of the times you can't even verbalise it. Like, I know I come in here sometimes and you're like, no, you're actually doing really good. And I'm like, why do I feel like shit then? Like, and you're like, no, it's all going really well. And I'm like, I don't fucking feel like it's going well. And again, it's that reassurance that even though for, whatever state I'm in at that point in time and the things that I'm experiencing, and you're there going, no, like it's the, lighthouse in the fog sort of thing.
100%.
Going, even though you are blind and it doesn't feel, if you just have faith that that light that you are heading towards, that is actually...
Yeah, it's light then to tunnel, not a train.
Correct.
Yeah, it's... Yep.
Which is pretty fucking important, I have come to discover.
Yeah, it is for a lot of people. Yeah. It's not uncommon when people go, did I have a good year? That's probably the most common thing that's said in this room.
Yeah.
So did I have a good year? And I look at them going, what do you think? Do you think you had a good year? And they're like, oh, no, I felt pretty good, but I don't know. Like, sometimes there's a disconnect between the two.
Totally.
Right? And so it's about going, oh, well, let's go through it then. And then go and taking them through their journey of their year so they can go, oh, yeah, that's right, I did do that. And I did, oh, that was pretty good. No, yeah, if you could do more of those, that would be good because that's particularly profitable. That's particularly interesting. Or, you know, they go, oh, really? Oh, they're good, are they? I want to do more of them. Yeah. You want to sell more widget B? Oh, do I? Okay. Because you're kicking goals on those. You want to do more of them. People go, but they don't know. They're just selling whatever someone walks in, right? Where if, you know, and that's giving those insights, those little gems that help people out. You know, that's what's key. That's why people want. That's what people want. They don't just want a service. They don't just want something done. They want someone to take the time to understand them and their business, and want them to do better.
Absolutely. And then provide the insight and the guidance. And then when you do the thing that you've been told to do by the professional, and you do it, and you go, oh, it's better.
Yeah.
You go, I was doing that was worse, and I'm doing this, and now it's better. And you're like, good.
Me do good.
Me do good.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
And that, to me, is actually, when I say everything's easy, that's literally what I mean, is I'm like, yeah, you might be trying to do enormous things, but enormous things are still done in tiny little pieces. And you can do tiny little pieces.
100%.
And then they just...
No one goes from 0 to 100 in a day. All right? It's always about practice. It's the 1% improvement a day. You know, and it takes 100 days. Like, you know, it's...
Mate, if only it took 100 days. How many years is it since 2008? Fucking lots.
Yeah. But, you know, it's... And that's the thing. People, it's breaking into small pieces. And again, it comes back to that plan. You know, you're not trying to go from step A to step Z. You're just trying to get to B and then C.
And here's the thing, and this is something that I actually have no idea, but it's something I ponder. For people, for younger people, and I look at this in my son as well, where he wants to be a YouTuber.
Sure.
How do you teach, like, commercial guidance to a 10-year-old? Because I keep looking at their trajectory as, you know, they're better educated, they're well connected with the world. He's looking at commercialization stuff now because he watches YouTubers doing the thing. And I'm sitting here going, like, I needed this information 2.5 decades ago.
Yeah.
I went and saw, what are they, Australian Institute Company Directors, those sort of course
Sure.
things.
Yeah.
And I went and saw them, and they're like, oh, you know, governance, risk. And I'm like, needed this 2 decades ago, mate. Like, this is fucking useless to me now. Like, yeah, I'll get some letters. But, like, I know this because I've burned myself to the ground in everything that you talk about.
Sure.
I don't teach your fucking classes.
Yeah.
I don't need it. Is that sensible, relevant for the sort of person? Because, again, I keep finding myself in places where, you know, young people looking to make something of themselves, and I go, how do you even get ahead of that with basic commercialization, given that I can't find it in structured education?
It doesn't exist in structured education.
No.
So you learn it. You have to learn it from home, in the most basic sense. In relation to your training, like in your formalised company directors and that sort of stuff, there are people that very much suits and fits. Okay, so if you're within a larger organisation, you want to be progressing your career, or you're looking for board postings, or fantastic, suits really well. I don't know what their offerings are on other spaces, but traditionally it's more on the your C-suite guys looking to go to boards, or even not-for-profit sector and things like that. In relation to your son and commercialisation, what I do with my kids is I've probably been commercially training them for a while in that they'll go, oh, I really want to buy X. I really want to buy that, $60. Cool. And they go, so what do I have to do to make $60? Like what job, like, you know, I'll do 7 jobs, you know, and then they'll basically negotiate. They'll come back and go, that's ridiculous. I've just worked out I'm going to be doing this many hours work. You know, the minimum wage, Dad, is $28 an hour. I'm like, yeah, for an over 21, You're 10. And they're going, yeah, but my effort's my effort. You know, how just because you've got ageist policies doesn't mean it's my problem. And I'm going, like, mate, I'm in trouble under child slave acts here. And they negotiate back and forth with me, right? And I say, and it's got to be done to standard. If I have to hire someone else in, i.e. one of your siblings, to finish the job, then you're not getting paid. Right? So it's got to not just be done, it has to be done well. And that negotiation might go on a couple of hours, back and forth. And in the end, we agree to it. Always have a witness, always have their mother witness it, and so that it's fair. And they will then go do all said tasks. They'll work. And I said, no, you get paid upon completion of all tasks. We're not halving this. There's no progress payments. It's you're doing the job. Do it once, do it right. And they go away and they do it. And we go around and we inspect. And the mother checks that, you know, so that I'm not being unreasonable. And then I pay them. And they've got, you know, they've got their own bank accounts with debit cards. I just pay it to them and say, yep, tell me when you're going and I'll lift the daily limit so you can buy what you want to buy. And they buy it. But there's a whole series of lessons in that, you know, don't take the first price. Assess the commercial transaction. How many hours are involved? What tasks are involved? Scope your job. Understand your commitment. Understand your value. Go back, highball him. Right? He's going to lowball me. And this whole mentality of, okay, if I highball, he'll go to here, then that will get us to about there, and that's what I want. That whole process is, you know, the sooner you can teach kids that, and people go, oh, you shouldn't do that with chores. I said, these aren't chores. This isn't folding your clothes. This isn't tidying your room. That's called life. You don't get pocket money for that. Because guess what? When you turn 18, you still got to fold your clothes. Now you got to wash them, right? It gets harder, not easier, right? These are bigger tasks. This would be hedging, right? So we've probably got 70 metres of hedging, right? You got to hedge it all, put it in the green bin. It's got to be straight. I don't want shapes in it, you know. Do it properly, right? Now, okay, one of my kids is 6 foot tall and he's 12. He's big, so he can handle that job pretty easily. The younger fella, not so as easy, right? But he's got a step and he's got this and that, whatever. Or he'll mow the grass, get the ride on out, do all that. Whip a snip, clean the pool. Jobs that are my jobs that I'm outsourcing. That's the best way to teach kids commercialisation because they're learning the value of a transaction. They're learning how to go about their personal wealth, their personal value, their time, the fact that these things take time and that time is money and that they shouldn't just be frivolous in it and be willing to walk away from a deal. You know, that would be the key thing. So with your son's example of YouTubing is he should be focusing on other YouTube businesses and how they commercialise that business, what steps those businesses have taken to commercialise that. Instead of saying, I want to make money out of this, simply go with the question of, I want to understand this business. I want to understand how he did well, how he did poorly, what lessons he learnt. Because everyone should be a student of history. You know, you should be learning from all the mistakes of others so you don't repeat them. Okay, so he needs to understand that YouTube business in a level that he can tell you how these businesses work, when they monetize, how they do it, why they do it, and then do research on what are the leading YouTube channels, what content's out there. Copying that's not going to be the answer. Trying to identify the next. Now that's $1 million question. If we all knew what the next one was, well, we'd all be doing it. But that whole process of understanding how this widget goes together will help him assess any commercial transaction. Right? Because effectively what you're going back to is, what does the customer want? How am I delivering it? How is it convenient? How is it of value to them? You know, but all that stuff kids will not learn at school. Okay? They just won't. So as parents, that's part of our journey, is choosing how much of that we teach them and how we go about that. And some kids are really good at it. Like both my boys are very good at it. They just naturally have an affinity to that. One's more of a salesman, one's more of an accountant. But in principle, they get it.
Makes sense. Because, we do the 10-cent bottles.
Yeah.
Because he loves Robux and Minecoins.
Sure, yeah.
And I said to him, mate, if you want Robux and Minecoins, you got to make your own bucks.
Mm-hmm. Or, I've heard of people who go, you want the new Xbox, that's great, so you need to sell your Nintendo. You got to trade that in.
It's got to be a bit of hurt.
You got to commit to what you want.
Yeah.
It's not just the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. It's, I'm going to sacrifice this for that. And then suddenly they go, whoa, hang on.
It's a bit more than
I
I just wanted it to appear.
That's a bit rich. I'm thinking this Nintendo's looking okay. Suddenly there's a consequence, there's a choice, there's a, well, we all want a new car. Do you want the loan repayments? How much is it going to cost you to, it's that trade-off, that assessment process, and that's why you got kids, people in their 20s going bankrupt, because they just used to, I want. And you go, no, you got to pay for this. You got to add uppy. Your income has to be more than your expenses. It's really elementary, but it's not taught at school, which is a real failing.
Yes.
And even the smart, like doctors are terrible at it. So are lawyers. Super smart people. But they struggle with basic household budgets.
Well,
right?
exactly, because there's no framework given for any of this stuff.
And they're wicked smart, and everyone helps them through a lot of life skills, but a lot of them have a real deficiency in that space. So it's not just, it's all people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter how well educated or poorly educated you are.
It's a life skill.
It's a life skill. It's just not taught.
No.
No.
And that's why I'm doing the same thing as you, and it makes me feel better that I'm doing the same thing, where I'm trying to make him understand the value. And the other thing I'm trying to teach him is that hard work is hard work.
Sure.
And that the trick is smart work. And if you can increase the transaction for your time and find ways to do it better, because, mate, those 10-cent bottles, that's a shitload of work. There's a big gap. There's you're hustling grandparents for extra ones. Like, it's work. And then you, like, all that and weeks of work, and you get $10.
Yep. 100%. So it's about that whole transaction side of it, is learning how all that goes together. And that's experience. Like, that just is experience. And that's what I think all kids need, And, like, there's some basics in there. Get them to fold their clothes and clean their room. And it's torture. We all have to bash the kids about it, figuratively speaking. Like, get on with it, do it.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's a life skill. But they don't get paid for that. No. Looking after their own little 3x3 space, that's a life skill. It's the commercialisation comes in the other things where...
Correct. And having a mind for it, and having I wanted my boy to have a card, have his own bank account, use it. Use the card to pay for stuff,
correct.
And understand the ins and outs,
and
that it hurts a little bit when there's no more left, and then you've got to refill the pot, and that's hard too, because I've watched more recently, he's very comfortable saving, and he thinks about things more and doesn't just because again, he's got the traits that I do, which have impulsivity and things that you need to be very careful of, and they're the ones.
I've got one who's a bit like that too, and he's very good at saving.
And that fills me with joy, because his complexities.
But it's a learned skill.
Yeah, correct. It's not one that
it's a learned skill, and
comes naturally.
It doesn't come naturally to many people.
No.
And it's a natural. It has to be a learned skill.
And delayed gratification, in particular, of I want the thing and then have to go through the process to get the thing, is something we've been working on for years, and I'm finally seeing the fruits of that effort. Rather than
the good. Yeah. It's I think all kids should be doing.
Because basically, I don't want my son to be a 44-year-old sitting here in the same position where he's had to learn everything.
Sure.
Ask about.
Yep.
Because it turns out, finance, pretty important.
Pretty important, yeah. And I spent most Friday mornings and Friday afternoons in the back of a ute picking up rent. Yeah. And saying to Dad, do you know they could put the rent into your bank account electronically, Dad. Just throwing it out there. We wouldn't have to drive around all of southeast Queensland every Friday afternoon to collect the rent in cash. And Dad goes, yeah. But you see, I have to walk to the front door every Friday. So that means the grass gets mowed. And that old bugger's going to turn up at my door, so I better make sure the house is not trashed. And I better make sure that the bins got put out. And, you know, and Dad would sit there, and I just remember standing there at one of the properties, and Dad go, now you need 3 things in life. You need shelter, you need food, then you need clothes. They're your needs. And then we can have beer, and then you can have cigarettes, and then you can go on the pokes. Now, the house is your shelter. So you've got to pay me first, because you need to do the needs first. Then you go buy your food for the week and put it in the fridge. Whatever's left, you can drink and smoke. And they'd go, oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah, sorry about that, yeah. And then you go to the next house and go, now, there are 3 needs in life. And that's what we did.
Man of discipline.
This is what we literally did for a decade, was drive around collecting rent while Dad taught people the 3 needs of life.
So he ran a very early entrepreneurship program.
Well, we thought it was common sense, but again, I learned, oh no, these people actually don't understand these things, and you know,
wild.
Yeah, you'd go, hey, that grass is not mowing itself. And they'd go, yeah, the thing is I don't have a mower, and he's like, yeah, but you've rented a house with a yard. But I tell you what, young James here, for $20, he'll make that problem go away. And I'd go, oh, that sounds really good. Could you come do that for me? Yeah, I'll come mow your grass for you. So suddenly my brother and I are fighting over who's getting $20. So we're going, why doesn't he just mow his own lawn? You know, after like 6 mows, he could have bought a mower. And Dad's like, yeah, but he doesn't have to walk around in the sun. Okay, but it's not that hot. He's like, take the money and shut up. So my dad's a teacher. He's not an accountant. He can't explain the economics behind it. My dad's very good at business. Without understanding, he's good at business. Does that make sense? Like he's
perfect sense.
Very good at money very quick.
Yeah.
But that's how we'd all mow. We'd be off mowing the lawn. And sometimes, I'd mow on this one and Rob's mowing that one. We had 2 mowers.
As you would.
Yeah.
Again, you've only got to mow a few.
Oh, and the best thing is there's always a tenant who's left a mower.
Always.
So we end up with 4 mowers in the shed.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, that's how we sort of got started on it. So, but it was very, very, very early, very young, and then one of the tenants moved out and they bought the house next door to Mum and Dad. And the guy had a few beers one day, he's complained, he said, I worked out I paid you $80,000 in rent. And Dad went, oh, well, you did get to use the house. That's how it works, you see. Anyway, it's a bit up there. It goes off. And Dad goes, the best thing about that bike? I go, what's that? He's like, you're not real good on numbers. I go, why is that? He goes, it was more like 160. And I go, really? He's like, yeah. He's forgetting how many years he lived there. He's only counting back 10 years. He's forgetting that.
Yikes.
Oh, yeah. He's like, yeah. And it's that whole people not understanding their transaction. Like that guy to him, he's like, he gave away money. And you're like, no, you didn't. You chose to use it. You chose to rent. And I appreciate not everyone has a choice to rent. They have to rent. But you had to have shelter.
Correct.
And this was the transaction. You can't begrudge the person.
No. Who's done the work to have the thing before.
Yeah, who didn't have a holiday.
No.
Who worked all Christmas holidays.
Yes.
Worked in 40-degree heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
wasn't free.
Not by accident, not by magic.
By
doing the thing.
Doing the thing, working. And so all that education is young. You got to get it in young. Otherwise, kids will get to 25 and just think they get a new house and a new car, and because that's what they want.
Which is very much where we find ourselves socially.
For some. Yeah, for some. But they were there. Like we got to be careful we don't turn into those old men going, when we were young, that happened. When you go back 20 years ago, the number of guys in their 20s with, $100,000 in credit card debt, and they're 24.
Well, it's exactly the same. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Well, nowadays it's not so much that because they've changed the rules, but they're buying cars they can't afford, or they're afterpaying, or they're those challenges are still there because that's that.
Because the same fundamental flaw exists.
But but there's always been people who weren't educated, so it's just about worrying about your own kids and making sure that they've had that exposure.
I've just enjoyed being an old man that whinges about things and shakes fist at clouds. But look, James, I'm also conscious of your time today because you've been very generous with it. Mate, if people wanted to reach out to you, get in touch, talk about things, what would be the best way?
Yeah, 100%. Just probably initially just a phone call to the office at Dickinson's Accountants, so 3209 7700, and they can organise an appointment. I think face-to-face appointment's always the best way to start, so we can all get to know each other and
do the vibe check.
Well, and 100%. Your account has to be someone you trust.
It's got to work both ways.
It's got to work both ways. And I say that about like financial planners. People go, "Do you know?" I said, "Yeah, I know quite a few. I'll give you a few names. Go meet them. You might meet the first one and go, oh, hard pass. No.
Not me.
No, not this one. And you go, okay. You got to feel it. Trust has to be, you got to actually be in the boat and go, yeah, this person's got my back. Right? So that would be the best way. And then we can go from there.
Beautiful. James, thank you.
Well, thank you. You've been very kind.
Taking the time and sharing with me. And there's a few fun things. What was that? What was the book that?
The Trusted Advisor.
The Trusted Advisor. I'm going to download that and listen to it.
Yeah, see if you can find that somewhere.
Mate, it'll be on Audible.
It'll be somewhere.
It'll have the thing
Yep.
somewhere. Well, for everybody that's made it to the end, we have tapped 2 hours, as we always tend to do. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time on the All Read Everything podcast. And as always, be kind to yourselves.